Alright guys, so this is my review for the third movie I've seen this weekend. It's The Impossible, starring Naomi Watts and Ewan McGregor. So, I went into this movie with, I think, too high of expectations. I went in expecting, a really, really good movie. It got good buzz, a few critics that I like gave it good reviews, and I don't know, I was just expecting a heavy, hard-hitting film, and my biggest I have a lot of problems with this movie because I really generally didn't like it. I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it. So let's go into it. So my biggest problem with this movie is that I have a lot of problems. So, all right, for the first problem I have with it is that it was such a huge tsunami, and when the tsunami comes, I'm just gonna predict it. It's like it's coming, and then it shows the impact for maybe 2 minutes, and then it cuts to the next scene where she's there, and then it shows the next scene, and it kind of is done with the tsunami for a bit. It kind of revisits it through I would say maybe a dream sequence at the end of the movie, and that was awesome because it was like 4 minutes long. It was fucking brutal, and it shows how catastrophic this event really was. And I said, this is how I said it. It was like me going into flight, and then it's Denzel getting in the cockpit, the plane starts shaking, and then fucking he's in a hospital. If that were to happen, I wouldn't have liked Flight. And the main problem with The Impossible is that it doesn't show the tsunami. It shows like, honestly, 2 minutes of it, and it was just so disappointing. After that, I started really losing interest after that. So then, diving into the next point, there's just some really stupid shit that happens in this movie. Like a few things involving the kid. There's 3 kids, and it's just there's stupid things that happen. Like it's just bad script writing. That's the biggest problem with this movie. It's just terrible script writing. This is one of the biggest disappointing scripts that I've seen all year. It was just lazily written, and if you've seen the movie, I'm sure you can probably think of some of the things that happen. The climax for the movie is one of them. It was just so poorly written and so over the top fucking stupid. The kind of coming together scene. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. I really wanted to do this review with a spoiler-filled review where I could just lay into everything I hated and not have a problem, but I don't want to do that because I really don't think a lot of people are going to see this movie. And so, anyways, I think it's poorly written. There's just the climax is terrible. It's just over the top. Stupid cliche. The difference between again, clichéness doesn't bother me, but when they think they're surprising me and they think they're doing something that's never been done before, and they make the viewer think like, oh my god, they're being blown away, but really it's just stupid and it was predictable. That's the type of shit that bothers me. When it's overly sappy and overly just not well thought out and well written, that's when cliche bothers me. That movie's full of stuff like this. But I did like the acting. I thought the CGI was done. I think this movie could have benefited, a story like this could have benefited with a better, bigger director. I think a guy like, obviously Steven Spielberg would, someone like that, where this movie had a fucking it's a catastrophic event. If you're going to make a movie about that tsunami, because it was literally one of the worst things that I've ever seen happen. I remember watching this. It was one of the worst things that has ever happened in my lifetime. And it was so small. It wasn't a blockbuster. And I mean, people may commend it for that, but maybe I went in expecting this giant tsunami, just a long 25-minute sequence of just it destroying the city and this fucking country, and it didn't do that. Maybe I expected too much, and people shouldn't have expected that, but I think a story with such a huge event needed a huge director, and you needed a huge budget, and this movie did not have that. But it did have a few good performances. I liked Ewan McGregor's performance, even though I think his storyline was definitely the weaker of the. It's split into two parts, kind of. I think his storyline was definitely the weaker of the two because Naomi Watts had a few more interesting points going on for her. But then again, I think the storyline with Naomi Watts' son is just bad throughout the whole movie. It's just bad. He's I didn't like it. I did not like that part of the movie. But then going into, I already said I like the acting. I like the music, even though a lot of the music, honestly, I'm pretty sure was just recycled from Lost. That's how I felt about this movie. I felt it was like a TV melodrama. It felt like it really didn't hit me as a movie. It felt like a fucking miniseries for Lifetime. That's how I honestly feel about this movie. I think it's just a Lifetime miniseries. It didn't have a movie punch to it. It was just so poorly written. I wanted to know who approved of the script because it was just so shitty. It was fucking awful. It was an awful script. But yeah, I did not really like this movie. I'm surprised it has it's got like 80% on Rotten Tomatoes, but I did read a lot of negative reviews and they agree that the script is just not good. But I don't think anyone has called it a Lifetime miniseries because I really think that's what it can be best described as, in my opinion. But obviously it's a pretty mixed movie. Well, not really mixed. It's pretty positive. So if you've seen it and you liked it, tell me what you thought of it. If you did not like it, tell me why you didn't like it. But I will give The Impossible a 5.5 out of 10. I think with a bigger director, honestly, just an entirely different script and just more of a catastrophic movie. A movie where it showed how disastrous this event really was. I can't really feel bad for 4 white people who are on vacation. 5 rich white people on vacation who you know what I mean? When millions of fucking people died. I can't feel bad for that. You lost, what did you guys lose? You lost your shit? It's terrible, don't get me wrong, but I think this movie really could have been a lot more impactful if it showed, the people, people probably lost their entire families. They probably lost everything, their houses, everything, and it just focuses on 5 rich white people. I don't know if that's the wrong way to look at it, but that's kind of how I got afterwards. But yeah, again, to throw feedback in there, I gave it a 5.5 out of 10. I did not like this movie. I think with more with over time and thinking about it more, maybe rewatching it, I will just dislike it even more because the script was just god awful. I really feel that way. I thought it was just god awful. But it had some good performances from Ewan McGregor and Naomi Watts, and I thought the direction was fine for what it was, but it should have been a lot bigger scale and stuff like that. But what can I do? I don't make movies. At least I want to, but I don't make them. So give me a sub, leave a comment. Thanks.